Okay, and we are live again. So I'm just going to share the link to everyone. Let's see, let's paste it to these boys. And just check, do a sound check for me. So that's that, and let's post the link to Will. Okay, sweet. Okay, thanks Timmy, you're a legend. Chief Technical Assistant. Okay, so I should really change the name of the feed, I think, to DQuad. DQuad build part 2 and Revolt V2 setup. Okay, hopefully that should change it for people joining us now. Okay, so whilst I am waiting for people to join, I'm going to do a few little housekeeping jobs. So I want to stick the receiver down. I cheated and after the Tyrannus unboxing last night, I couldn't resist and ended up fitting the receiver. But I didn't do any more than that, so you haven't missed anything as such. Okay, so wheels in, lovely. So I'm just going to use a bit of this 3M sticky tape. Well, that's a bit much. Let's cut this down. And remember guys, if you've got any questions, to keep this interesting, I'll try and answer questions as I go. I don't always notice the comments, but if you've got me on Facebook, you can just send me a little message and I'll do my best to answer. So just sticking a little sticky pad on there, and we're going to feed it and hide it underneath the flight controller. In fact, guys, if you want to do me a favour whilst I'm doing this, I haven't actually posted the link in any of the group pages, so if any of you feel like doing that, then I'd be very appreciative, but don't feel that you have to. I feel a bit hesitant to keep posting myself because I don't want to drive people mad with it. Let's see. So, funny enough, I trimmed my nails back today after Tim's comment about them being wire strippers. So, but I've hindered myself because I can't actually peel this sticky back off the plastic off the sticky. There we go, we've done it now. So that is stuck in. Okay. Okay, that's Tim, and okay, boys, you're legends. You know who you are. Okay, so let's just get this stuck perfectly where we want it. Just made an error there as I stuck it in place of the regulator. just have it poking out just a little bit out the back of the board. Okay, so now we're going to make sure all the wires are out the way and screw back down. Okay, I think, yeah, Ian, if you're trying to decipher what Tim said, I think he meant I'll let you this time. Yeah, there we go. He's explained. Okay, so I've got my soldering iron on. My receiver is in place, and I'm just actually going to retrim these wires so that we don't have all this excess, because it is unnecessary. So I'm going to get my handy dandy pair of tweezers out. Always make everyone jealous. And we're going to first of all resolder this signal wire back on. Okay, and then we're going to just remove these one by one by one. Lovely. And we're going to get some pliers, some trimmers even, and I think we will go which way shall we go? We shall go, yeah, I think that's quite neat like that. We spread them out nicely. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. Okay. So, a bit of a trim, and then we shall do a bit of a strip, which is going to be difficult today. I'm going to have to get the old scissors on the case. Timmy, why did you make me trim my nails? That's made it very difficult for me. Okay, we've got as many as 2 people watching. Impressive numbers. I'm not sure if that's a legit figure or not, because it does keep changing. So we shall wait and see if more people join us. Okay. Still just fighting with these wires here. Unfortunately, they're not silicon on the XSR, so they're a total pain to actually trim back. See if I can look at it a bit closer. Okay. It's 2. That's 3. Last one to do. It's 4. Not sure if I've got enough strip there. But hopefully, just trim that again. Okay. So that is that. We'll trim back, tidy that up. Okay, so let's tin those wires. So first of all, get your tip, clean your tip. You should always go in with a clean tip. And a bit of solder on the iron, and tin. Not sure if it's me, but it seems very dark tonight. I haven't got great light. I know exactly why. It's alright, I haven't put the right lights on. There we go, that's much better. Yeah, Dave, yeah. Shouldn't wear a ring, yeah, might get caught in all this heavy machinery I've got laying around. You're absolutely right. Only girls wear rings and all that. Right, okay, so just have to remember what order, yeah. So we've got ground. First one is ground. Let's turn it over. Okay, perfect. So clean tip. And we're gonna go. Oh, come on. One. Oh, I don't think I tinned that one. Two. Trim that back a bit. This is the powerful receiver. Power is 2. Then signal is 3. Trim that off a bit so it's all nice and tidy. Lovely. And apply heat. No. Three. And one for the telemetry stroke smart audio S port, which is the receive port right at the top. That could do with being tinned a bit more, that pad. And done. No, not done. Let's tidy that up. Right. And isn't 3 back right motor? Yes, it is, yes. Why? Did I say something incorrect? Three is the back right motor, yeah, you're absolutely 100%, but as far as I know, unless I'm talking rabbiting on without knowing what I'm saying, I wasn't really referencing motors. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure all the flux resin is just cleared out from between the pads. All nice. Okay, so that, I don't know if it looks tidy or not. Let's move these out of the way and see. Hopefully it should. Okay. Sorry, yeah. Absolutely, you're 100% right, because I was in that corner, so yeah, I see what you were saying. Let's do another quick magic smoke test, fingers crossed. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Welcome to Pt.2.
Power on the radio and check that the receiver is communicating. And it isn't for some reason. It's very interesting.
Telemetry lost.
Why is it not communicating is the question. Okay, well, we'll try and cycle the power on that again. I had
telemetry recovered.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's communicating fine. Okay. Excellent. Right, so that's all good. So,
telemetry lost.
What would people like to see next? Would you like to see the setup for the Revolt, or would you like to see me assemble the camera and VTX? Probably going to do both, but it just depends. Doesn't really matter the order. I'll probably start with the camera, if I'm honest, and the VTX. We'll get that out of the way, as it can be interesting. Props on a flight, yeah. That hell yeah. Well, we could try that. I mean, definitely, there's no reason why it wouldn't work. Well, we don't have camera, but I could fly it line of sight like this. I'm not sure if DQuad designed it to fly like that, if it's structurally sound, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So let's have a look here. We need the roll cage, and we need the plates, and we need some screws. So we also need camera. Just going to put this to one side. We are using the Foxeer XAT 600, otherwise known as the HS1177. This is the IR blocked 2.5mm lens, and it's in black. A close up of where the receiver is. Okay, that's a close up. I don't know if you can see that. Just hiding in under there. You can see just poking out the back, and then we'll mount the antennas up onto little pigtails on the frame. So I was saying to the guys recently, I can't believe I've not flown 2.5mm the whole time. I've only had a recent experience with 2.5mm and I will not go back. I refuse. I've even bought a 2.5mm lens to put in to convert the camera on my Alien from a 2.8 to a 2.5. But obviously the Alien's a bit poorly because it's got crappy KISS gear in it. Hashtag KISS is shit. Or as Richard said the other day, hashtag broken boot button. So this is the Fox here with the 2.5mm lens, nice and shiny. And hopefully I won't be able to do my normal of getting it upside down. As Ian will tell you, I'll have a habit of doing that. So let us put the plates together on the frame. Get a handy dandy knife, open up the package, two little carbon plates, and we need some standoffs, 1, 2 and 3, I believe, yes. Okay, so the carbon plates actually mount on the outside. Need to get some screws, and I think it is the 10mm or 11mm. It's these ones, whatever size they are, screws. Or is it? He says I seem to have spent a lifetime getting these screws out of this bag, as I keep cleaning up my work area. Okay, it's that size we want, and I believe, yeah, 3, 4. Yeah, crappy KISS gear, you're right, Tim. Although I do love KISS, I still, even though I've had problems, I do really respect KISS for what they brought to the drone market, as it were. I think we have all been pleasantly surprised with KISS at some point, regardless of how things are now. Okay, so one thing I do notice is the holes can be really tight on this carbon. So sometimes you need to actually persuade it into the hole. There we go. So get a standoff. And done. So that's one. And then we... Oh, and if you can't see what I'm doing... Oh, so Ian's working on his KISS stuff. As he said. I've got nothing against KISS. You know I've got nothing against KISS. It's just that Revolt is better. Yeah. No, I know lots of people that have had problems with KISS recently. What can I say? It's not that I think KISS is more prone than any other hardware. It's just I have heard of more people having problems most recently. That's all. That's all I can say. So we're going to chuck this plate on like so. Get a little screw. And just line it up. would help if I did it in shot so you can see what's going on. Okay, and then another screw. So what's everybody up to at the moment? Building, or I know Ian's working on his Weaver. Anyone else? Anyone else doing a build at the moment? Buzz is back. Hi Buzz, how's it going, buddy? Okay, so one thing to note about the Obsession frame is that the 1177 does not fit as standard. If I try and fit this camera in here, we get a big fat no. Absolutely not, sir. No way, not on your Nelly, never going to happen. So what we have to do is, if you can see the two little lugs on the case of the camera, it's a really simple mod. All we have to do is just chop them back a bit with a sharp knife. So I have a sharp knife and I'm literally just going to trim part of the lug back. Now, my advice if you're doing this is to go a little bit at a time and test the fit and try and get it absolutely equal both sides so that the camera sits nice and equal within the mount itself. Arguably I could use a different camera, but first of all I have these in stock anyway. I've got one left until the new ones arrive, and secondly it's my go-to camera. I've used it in every build I've had so far and I like the consistency. I think it's a good all-round camera. Yes, arguably there's cameras out there with better picture, but this just works for me, so it's what I recommend. I don't have a lot of experience with other cameras, so it's difficult for me to confidently recommend going with something different. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a bit more off one side. It's all about just going gradually and taking bits off slowly but surely, and try not to get the camera stuck in the mount like that. Okay, and take some more off here. Okay. Awesome. Tim's working on his wife's engine management light. I hope that's not a euphemism for something. Known trigger, it probably is. Okay, so all we're doing is lining up the holes ready for the screws. All I do with these is take the standard little screws that come in the mounting pack. Out you come as they run across the desk. Literally just take one of these. You have to be careful that you actually manage to get it in the hole when you do it and not just press it into the case. That's gone straight away inside. Lovely. And then take screw number 2, make sure it's all nicely lined up. Takes a bit of persuasion. It's not like it was designed for it perfectly, but it does go. Bit of persuasion. What are you trying to say? Yeah, I think that's very, very harsh about your teammate there. But you're probably not wrong, in fairness. Okay, so that is sitting nicely in the mount. It's very snug, but I think it works well. And actually on mine, you get a bit of you get some of the props in shot, which I actually quite like. That's quite a new thing for me, and yeah, I really like it. So these two holes here are for 2 more standoffs, but we're actually Will's having a 3D printed mount to go in here, so the standoffs, if I can show you, this is my broken mount, but you just have to excuse the state of it. It's well abused, but yeah, the standoffs push through the holes and then it bolts into place, just like that. Oh, just like that. Yeah, like that. But as I haven't yet printed him a mount, we're not going to fit those in. So next up, oh, that's a bit harsh. Okay, so we now need to fit the little antenna mount. So in order to do those HS117 have a metal thread or plastic thread, Tim? Plastic thread. But I mean, the screws are like self-tapping type, you know, they've got quite a strong thread on them. You've seen what I do to mine. It's the same way I mount the camera in the QAV, which also takes punishment. So in my mind, they're absolutely fine. I don't see any problem with them. So yeah, next up, we're going to actually have to do some very minor modifications to the antenna mount, because I like to screw the antenna to the plate, which is fine. However, the holes for the antenna are M3 size, and the holes in the mounting plate are not, for some reason. So I will need to persuade them to be 3mm. Now I may or may not be able to do this, in fact I won't be able to do it on camera as such, but if you bear with me whilst I organise my drill. brief interlude whilst I reach for field a drill. Okay, put him off to one side, and then we need the appropriate drill bit. Which will be that matey boy. I think that's slightly, yeah, that's too big. So, what do we know about drilling carbon fibre? Don't do it in the house. So, I shall be taking the little carbon fibre plate away briefly and widening the L's. So bear with me for 2 seconds whilst I go and drill the plate, and I will be right back. Okay, so oh, NJ takes in the room. Sorry, NJ, I had to go and make some modifications to this mount and drill out the holes to fit these M3 screws, which still require a modicum of persuasion, but not half as much as they did when they were smaller. So okay, so I'm just reading my messages whilst I've been away. I suppose arguably I should mute it, but if I mute it then I don't get notification and so on and so forth. You know, I like to see if people are telling me, "Oi, you need to mention this," because I don't always pay attention to what's going on the comments. You can probably hear this is ridiculously tight, and arguably I should use a slightly bigger drill bit, but as I'm on the live stream and don't have immediate access to one, I'm just using brute strength and ignorance, which has always done me well in the past. So that's a 1, and now we do number 2, which is actually going substantially quicker and easier. So it looks like we actually won't have too much trouble there, and we shall offer him up. Yeah, it's worth noting that Neil is the guy to speak to if you want a good opinion and an honest review of just about anything. A cowboy cutting mat. Oh yeah. Sorry, when you said Matt, you know, I get distracted because, yeah, you know, what with my name and everything. This carbon fiber's really, really wrestling with me, you know. It's my little girl arms, but we'll just work the whole. Pardon me. So, okay, it's freeing up now. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's better. Yeah, I would love, to be honest, Neil, every time I see one of your videos, which is a lot, basically every time you release one, I do get some serious cutting mat envy. Because you have, I'm not sure what size it is. I want to say it's A1 size, but you just have extreme amounts of space to work, and it's a sweet setup. Obviously, I appreciate you need it for the reviews that you do and everything like that. But yeah, sweet setup, dude. That's all I can say. Right now, which one of you likes to move my screws? Okay, it's all right. I've got them. Don't panic. Don't panic. Okay. So it's a lot harder live, by the way, Neil. Yeah, the pressure is on, and I definitely, as mentioned earlier, I definitely haven't got my soldering iron on. Sorry for the screeching, but yeah, it definitely hasn't been on the whole time of the stream. Definitely not. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, TS100 for the win. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about, I'll show you very briefly, and that is, let's have a look. I need to set this up. So, in fact, I think you should do a review of it as well. Just a good excuse to actually get one. Okay, so let's go to and we'll go here. Someone's streaming. Someone called Cowboy Vids is streaming. Let's see. Right, TS100 portable soldering iron. We won't play the video, but yeah, anyone that hasn't seen this review, go and watch this video, and when you've done that, hopefully Neil should have a video up on his channel and hopefully he will have reviewed it as well, and then you can compare the two videos. But the TS100 is definitely something that I'm contemplating getting. It looks like an awesome iron. So sorry for that brief interlude, but there we go. Right, so where are we? We have got the antenna screwed in. Could do with being a bit tighter. So that we can get the antenna on properly. And we're also going to put it on some standoffs so that we can lift it up from the back of the quad to give ourselves some more space. So I'm going to go into my box of tricks. anyone that's working with quads, I highly recommend you pick up one of these really cheap kits of screws. I've got about 3 of them, just because they're always handy. Invariably you use more bits from one than you do from others, but yeah, you can't have too much of this sort of stuff. It's incredibly handy. So what we're going to do is we are going to put this little plate on some standoffs, because when it's in the stack, you actually find that the base of the pigtail, antenna mount, whatever you like to call it, actually, if you don't raise it up, it ends up rubbing on the flight controller, and you're going to introduce vibrations and all sorts of horrible things like that. So we are going to just raise it up on those standoffs. They're nice and solid, they're not going anywhere. I've done the same on mine. You can see, if I reach for mine, you can see the sort of the route that we're going down. Normally this plate would sit flush on the frame, but we're just raising it up so it clears the flight controller, because it is really tight in there. So yeah, that's what we're aiming for anyway. So let's get these standoffs in. They can be a bit tight, and somewhere I do have, in fact, this is a plea. Someone needs to buy me some decent, preferably a line. I like my line stuff, but some actual hex, not hex drivers, sockets. You know what I mean. The someone tell me the right thing to say, what it's called. The things for driving the things on the things. Yeah, those. It's like a one of these, but like in a set. It's been a long day. I've been up at Redfin Models all day. I was hoping to do some live from there, but we just ended up getting too busy, and lots of people wanting to chat about nothing. So yeah. So nearly in. I did have something that was going to help me earlier, but I've since misplaced it. Apologies for the lighting as well, people. You'll know I've only just started doing the live stuff. We've got 8 people in with us at the moment. It's not mega, but I appreciate every single one of you being in. I certainly enjoy it. It's nice to be able to share. But yeah, if it increases in popularity and people like what I do, then we'll definitely look at getting a more profesh setup going. So there we go, right there, nice and tight like Tony the Tiger. And we're going to mount this underneath, comme ça. Now, when mounting these, this is the TBS Unify, it's just wide enough that if you get the cable tie just right and the right amount of pressure on the cable tie, it will sit up there quite nicely and not get in the way, and you can move your antenna exactly as you want it. Just put a little twist in and it will sit nicely. So first things first is make sure that the connector for the camera is wired up in the appropriate direction, which I have to say, guys, if you are getting a camera from me, I will try and remember to tell you all as and when at the time, but for some unknown reason, and it's not not the camera, but the Unify cables, all the pins seem to be in the wrong order, certainly for the HS1177. Now I'm pretty careful when I put stuff together, and I'm always double checking, triple checking. I don't use a smoke stopper, and I'm probably a bit naughty for not doing it, but actually, yes, it probably would save me on those odd occasions, but I don't like to get complacent, so I like to actually double check and triple check the stuff I do, and I feel like if I had a smoke stopper, potentially I might be a bit more relaxed about things, and whilst I wouldn't be causing any damage, I don't know, it's just best practice, I suppose. I come from RC planes and RC helis, and the culture when I started was that of trying to always be as safe as possible. It's not something that we always see in the quad world, and probably, arguably, we should see a bit more. I have been accused of being the drone police at times. I'm really not. I'm just purely trying to protect our hobby as much as I can where possible. And I think that should be a common theme for all of us, because I mean, we all enjoy it so much. It'd be a terrible shame if we were not able to do so anymore. So, but yeah, going back to the Unify, I will speak to Raphael about the order. I suppose if they're made specifically for their cameras, then that will be the answer. And as I've done now, and as we should always do, you know, check and triple check. Yeah, we shall see, but just be careful. That's the main thing. Just be careful when don't just go merrily plugging in your VTX to your camera without first knowing that the voltage is right and it's getting plugged into the right hole. Now, for some reason, just got a pin that's being a bit sloppy and doesn't want to stay. Okay, that's got it. So, video is next. And actually, we're going to leave the white, which would normally be the audio, we're going to leave that out because we're going to be soldering it to the flight controller so that Will can control his VTX via his Tyrannus, which is becoming more and more popular. I've got it myself on my radio and I absolutely love it. It's very I have to say it's actually quite clunky for everyone else that's tried it. The script is clunky. I'm sure it will improve as time goes on, but even though it is clunky, I'd say it's a lot more of a benefit than a hindrance. So yeah, we're not going to worry too much. So I'm going to loop this cable around so that it hangs out of the way, and I'm going to go for a cable tie. Now, where did I put my skinny cable ties? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Yes, need cable tie. Cable tie. So we shall thread that through there, like that, and marry the ends together so we've got something to get some purchase on. You do have to be a bit of an octopus in this hobby, I think, and especially if you're working on tight builds, because you need all your fingers and thumbs to hold everything in place. That is nice and tight, that's not going anywhere, and we just need to shift it back so that we can tilt the camera, so that's all tilted up nice, and we shall we'll pull this smart audio cable out of the way so if things are not in shot, and we will put a bit of heat shrink over those just to keep them out of the way. So go into my box of heat shrink. Box of heat shrink, wherever I've put that. Dear oh dear. As my friend would say, it ain't easy. So, what we'll do is we will get some of this, just a small piece, just to keep the wires nice and tidy. Saves having to use. Why aren't you using the 3D printed mount for the Unify? The reason I'm not using the 3D printed mount is because I printed them in ABS. I don't have the facility to print in TPU, and because they're rigid, they're actually more of a pain in the arse than they're worth. So yeah, I mean, they're a good idea, and if you can print in TPU, hopefully our friend Paul, oh, you trimmed your wires down. Well, that's because you're clever. The reason I don't like to trim wires down is because, as we know, we're all quite finicky in this hobby, and we can change our mind at the drop of a hat. And if you want to then transfer your gear onto another build and you perhaps need some more length, I leave the wires intact for that reason. So, and it's just easy to put a bit of heat shrink on. Arguably it doesn't even need the heat shrink, but I'll do it just to keep it nice and tidy. I do like the fact that TBS have now started using silicon wire, because the cables are really small, and when you're trimming them down and taking back the insulation on the old wires, yeah, they can get a bit tricky. So we have got our VTX in place. We have got now our antenna mount in place. Let's just chuck some screws in. Screw one. And screw two. There we go. Okay. Now, let's cut that cable tie back. Okie dokie. That will fold back nicely. So now the time has come to mate the two parts together. So we'll move the pieces off to one side and we'll do what we call a dry fit. Just run those cables outside for the time being, and hopefully okay, so that antenna wire was just catching on the receiver. I'm hoping that the VTX won't catch on the receiver as well. Let's have a look. No, I think we're good. All the wires out the way. Yeah, no, that's actually going to go on just fine. So yeah, it's looking very, very good. So with these antenna wires, we're going to do the good old trick of a bit of cable tie and a bit of heat shrink up there and up there. So let's, are we safe to button him up? I think so. It's got that. Why are you so excited for the heat shrink on those arms? I'm going to tell you something disappointing. I'm going to tell you something that may or may not disappoint you, Neil. Now, this has been the ongoing sort of issue on this build. A good friend of mine, a very, very good friend of mine, Ian, decided that it would be a really good idea to show off his quad to all and sundry. What do we know about his quad? Well, he just happens to have the chroma light kit underneath. So that's not a problem. The guy that I'm building the quad for, Will, he decided that he would quite like to also go for the chroma light kit. Unfortunately, if we look here, if I go chroma. Oh, well, okay, this is groundbreaking here. If I Okay, I've got some good news. So it looks like the Chroma LED full kit is in stock. So don't mind me. I'm just going to order this whilst you watch a bit of Nout. Here we go. It will take me 2 seconds, I promise. We'll have it on a next day courier. Yes. And sorry, I've realised that this is really terrible to be doing on a live stream. But as we were desperate for them, I'm sure people will let me off. I daren't look at the comments, people complaining about their boring live stream. I only took it off screen, I didn't really feel great about broadcasting my address on the World Wide Web. I shouldn't be so scared of anything, but you know. So, all I can tell you is, there we go. Will and Dale, if you're watching, we have our light kits, so hopefully we shall get them on Friday if we're really lucky. So yeah, funny story then. So we've gone full circle. The heat shrink has put on there was in preparation so I can put the LEDs on underneath, and I've been talking to will it be ready for the weekend? What should we do? We can retrofit them and so on and so forth. And we've been waiting. I've been speaking to Simon from Airjacker. He's a really, really good guy. I can't recommend his site enough. Yeah, he's been saying, I'll let you know, I'll let you know. Well, he's finally got them in, and there we go, we've just ordered some. So, LEDs. Sorry, that was a really long story, Neil, and I apologise, but we, in a roundabout way, we got to the end of it. So, let us, without further ado, think about putting this frame on. So, first thing we need to do is solder our little smart audio cable. So, you're going to do that. Just peel that back. Tin the wire, clean the tip, and tin away. Sorry, I'm tinning off screen, but you can believe me that I am doing it. Okay, and then a little bit of a snip just to tidy it up, and we will tuck that in. I don't like soldering wires between the top and the bottom if I don't have to, but in the case of the smart audio cable, we're limited on options. So it's only one wire, takes 2 seconds to solder and unsolder, so there's no real big issue there. Okay, so we'll just put that to one side. We shall plug in the VTX power. Okay, so hopefully now everything will fold down nicely underneath, he says. Fingers crossed. Yes, I think, yeah, that's all okay, looking nice, and we can put some lock nuts in and do that. Um, that makes me very happy, Neil, and I have to say, you are a very, very busy man. The fact that you've tuned in, it makes me very happy. I'm smiling. So I know we've had a few chats recently about the hobby, so on and so forth. So yeah, much appreciated, mate. And yeah, well, you know, he is a Sparky, Neil. So one can only imagine what his house is going to look like at Christmas time. But yeah, whilst I'm here, whilst we're talking about Ian, I have to say big shout out to the team Redfin boys. That is my good mates Tim and Ian. We're not a racing team. We're just a repping team, I guess, is what you'd call it, or team rep pilots. It's just by association, you know. Redfin Models, my friend Jason, he is supporting us as much as possible, and in return, you know, we want to represent the brand, and yeah, he's doing good things with the community. We like to think we're doing at least our little bit. So all in all combined, I think yeah, we're doing a good job. But big shout out to Tim and Ian, really nice guys. And yeah, whenever I get a chance to go flying with them boys, you know it's going to be a good time. And actually, Will, you came out with us the other day. We had an absolutely amazing day. I've still got to edit up the footage for that. The video is going to be, well, I hope my editing skills will do it justice. But yeah, it was a mad one, that's for sure. So to button this up, then we need 2 of the, I believe, 14mm screws. I believe they're 14mm. They are for the back because they go through the XT60 connector. And then we need 2 of the 12mm, which I believe that is 1-ish. And that is another one. Oh, hold on. Let's make sure we get it right. Yeah, okay. Right, 2 of those, 2 of those. You do get some spares. Oh, well, okay, so whilst I have been, that's pretty amazing. So the good news is Simon from Airjacker, totally unprompted, has confirmed my order on Facebook and said he's shipping it out ASAP. That's without any prompting whatsoever. So that goes to show how good. I think he puts in a lot of effort to maintain a site. I guess you could argue conflict of interest because I'm selling parts and he's selling parts. Not of conflict of interest at all. Anything that I can do to assist anyone, including recommending other sites that have got really good customer service, that's doing the community a favour. I'm not going to get rich from selling parts, for selling quad parts or building quads. It's just not going to happen, much as I'd love it to. But it is a massive part of my life, and I, you know, want to do as much as possible. So I'm doing my bit, he's doing his bit. So if we can all share, and maybe, just maybe, he might recommend down the line in the future, he'll point people in my direction. Well, so be it. So you know, we'll just hope for a bit of good karma with that. And I could do with some karma right now because I've got to stick these captive. But they're not exactly captive, but blind nuts, or you know what I'm talking about. I've basically got to put nylock nuts in the frame so that when the screws shoot through, they will hold nicely in place. So it's, whilst the frame's mobile and I can manipulate it, we'll stick 1, 2 in. It's a shame. I actually had one of the Mr. DQuads in the first part of the build, and he's a really nice chap actually. I spoke to him afterwards. He was really friendly, enjoyed the video, was very complimentary. So yeah, I guess that's what's really inspired me to carry on and just do more. So let's see what we've got going on here. Okay, so Neil, whilst you're in, is there anything that we should be looking out for on your channel? Anything coming up that you would especially like people to look out for? Now is your chance for me to tell the 8 people that are watching and anyone else that catches up later on. That is one of the other things. I was surprised at how many people actually watched the video after I'd broadcast it. Is there, I know, I want to say you're not so much into the micros, but do the micros float your boat at all? Or is it straight? No, just only on the racing quads. Because I've actually got an Emax Baby Hawk en route for a bit of testing. I say testing, I mean playing. When I was making my order, it sort of caught my eye, and it's been hyped up. So we might have a little video of that. Not a review video, but you know, maybe an unboxing. Although by all accounts, it seems like there's not a lot to unbox as such. Okay, so that's the first 2 screws in. Just checking we still got no interference on the way the flight controller is sitting, which no, all seems okay. I'm just gonna not clamp down. On these Revolts, they come with these great gummies, but you do need the longer nylon screws when you fit them, not just standard nylon. I see a lot of people that have bought these Revolts and they really screw down onto the stack, and all that does is totally negate the whole purpose of having the gummies in the first place. I think that's tight enough. You just ideally want to see just a bit of movement when you move the board with your finger, but not too much, just so that the gummies have no compression. Okay, so everyone that's watching now, first of all, if you're not subscribed and you haven't got notifications turned on for Neil's channel, NJ Tech, let's do this now actually. I'm still practicing with getting the windows all up, so let's go to YouTube. Everyone do this now. Search for NJ Tech. Find Neil, he's at the top. Looks like he's in the pilot seat. And hit the subscribe. And send me all notifications for this channel. I hadn't actually selected that, so I don't know why. I'm pretty useless with stuff like that. But yeah, everyone subscribe. You probably already subscribed anyway, but yeah, do it now. But yeah, so we've got V1 Commander V1 goggles, Monster V2 camera. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The Emax whites. Okay, so that's the Emax whites. I don't want to load up your review of those. However, they are the only motor that I will be I have got great confidence in them. I stand by them fully. You know much more about motors than I do, so I'll take your last word on them. But yeah, I'm very confident in the products. Everyone that's used them so far, I'm sure I would say that, but everyone that has used them so far has given me great reports. Whether they're just being nice, I don't know. I use them myself, and I think they are. It's the way I can describe it is the torque with the right prop means that for doing little punches over the tops of trees and tight corners, you have to put very little effort in to achieve the same thing that you would with a different motor, like a 2206, let's say, like the Le Meunier 2350 kVs, for example. They're another motor that I use and I know. Yeah, I look forward massively to your review. So let's wait and see. But yeah, no, don't say that, Tim. Don't say things like that. No, I have to say, yeah, I love Le Meunier motors. So yeah, I'm also would like to get my hands on some of those. Yeah, I was looking at prop data for the 2400 kV motors and efficiency, and actually the Cyclones come out really awesome in terms of from the brief look that I had, it looked like the Cyclones were a nice prop. That's what I happen to use, and it looks like they get good performance from the motor. So there we go. Let's go back to the quad itself. So we've got two more nuts to go. These actually go in from inside, so maybe I should have done this whilst the cage was off, but we'll use some handy dandy crooked tweezers to get these bad boys in, or not, as the case may be. Okay, that's one. Yes, we definitely need to get Neil to review a Redfin battery. I am on the case. I've just been totally useless. It's the first week back for the kids at school, and I'm literally just, having looked after them for 2 weeks, I'm just getting back into my sort of regime of actually doing work, or what I call work, and getting stuff done. So I have been well behind, but there's some other products that I would like Neil to get a hold of. So yeah, I'm on it to get him a battery. Okay, so that's that one. And actually, whilst I'm doing this, okay, so whilst you're here, Neil, the other day I was lying in bed thinking about you, thinking about something that you said a while ago when I forget what who the manufacturer was, but there was the props, I believe, were black, and I think it was the trailing edge had like slots cut out of them, and something that you said was that that if you don't see it in real life on a real plane, there's a damn good chance that it isn't going to be any better because of the amount of money, pennies, millions and millions of pounds that are spent on that sort of development. Which got me thinking, I once watched a program on, I think it was the Dreamliner, but it could have been another jumbo jet, and they had the problem with regard efficiency and wingspan, etc., etc. and I believe they improved the efficiency of the wing by including winglets. I don't know the specifics. You know, I have a general, broad knowledge, not specifics. Anyway, they use winglets, and I believe it was to improve the efficiency. It was a while ago now, and I thought, well, it wouldn't be outside the question to actually have little winglets on the tips of the props. How about that for a suggestion? And no sooner had I thought it, but it seems like, I don't know if you've seen the latest Emax props that have been designed in conjunction with the white-bodied motors, but they've actually got like tiny little winglets, like curved up winglets, right at the tips. Now, whether they're any more efficient or anything like that, I don't know. But yeah, it was just amusing. So it looks to me. Actually, Will, whilst I need to ask you a question, antenna. What are we doing about antenna? Because I've got antennas in stock, which you're happy to have, which I'm happy to sell you. But I know you've already got some antennas, so I don't know if you need any or not. If you don't, then I'll just chuck a random one on for the time being, whilst I'm powering up your quad. I'll wait for an answer on that. So let's have a bit of a tidy up, because I think we're basically done. Yeah, wingtip vortices. Is that is that the same thing? Is that the problem that we're trying to counteract? Wingtip vortices. I remember that's something. Is that a thing? If I got it right, then I definitely need brownie points, because yeah, that was a while ago, and I have slept since then. Okay, so I am. Yeah, 5% efficiency is major. Okay, I have got a black sheep one. Bad times. Okay, so I've just read a message from Ian, who, funnily enough, okay, so Neil, help us. Ian has just messaged me to say he had an X25 motor go when we were out flying, and he has fitted a new motor and it hasn't solved the problem. Now, I believe he's on KISS. I've had exactly the same problem, and in fact I've gone one further and replaced the ESC as well, only for the ESC, both the original ESC and second ESC, to smoke instantaneously. I think we have to do some working back through. I haven't actually torn my build apart to get to the bottom of the problem, but yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a latest firmware issue on KISS or something like that, but I've heard probably 5 people now, including myself, that have just had exactly the same time spontaneous KISS problems. So I don't know. Ian, I know you're messaging me. We'll have to work out if it's. We'll come up with a plan for sorting that out. So don't despair, my friend. I have 4 good X25s that I'm not currently using. So don't worry. I won't let you. Be without. Okay, so let me see in my box of tricks. Yeah. I really don't know what it is. Will, let me have a look and see what antennas I've got. Okay, so Will, you're in luck because I happen to have a single stubby TBS Triumph antenna. So there you go. That is all nice. We'll also, whilst we're here, in fact, I'll do a magic smoke test first before I do the antennas, just in case we have to take the top off. Right, so everybody in the chat, let's, if we could have a moment's silence whilst we do the magic smoke test. Always a bit nervous live, you never know what's going to happen. Let's hope we don't smoke a VTX or anything like that. Okay, well, seems okay to me. I think we've got no explosions so far, so I'm going to call that a win. So let us go through. I'll sort the antennas as it's getting, time is getting on. So we'll go through the Revolt setup. So where are we at? We have got our USB cable, and we have actually got the software running. So it's waiting for the device. I'm going to plug the device in and I hope it does something. Okay, so we are all detected. So the first part, I mean, if anyone, I suppose people can watch it back if they want to see. There's lots of documentation. I highly recommend going to, if you want to download it, if you want a copy, I can help you out. I will supply you with the manual. But let's look here. So this is just this is a really good manual to follow. You can find it at raceflight.net/RF1 beta, and I can give you the link if you want it. But yeah, we'll go back to the Raceflight. So it's really easy. It's broken down into steps. Like, it's a great wizard. I'm running firmware RC12. Oh, RC12 even. As you can see. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. Let's change the size of this so everything fits in. Are we all fitting in now? I think that's that. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. So the setup. So I was just checking where we're all at. Okay. So setup flight controller. I've plugged in. Click setup, says place your quad flat. Okay, so we've got the quad flat-ish. Yeah, the bolts and heat shrink are getting in the way, but that will do for the time being. Okay, click next. Then it says place your quad on its nose. So I've placed the quad on its nose. As you can see, there, and we're going to click next. Oh, you can't. Sorry, for those of you that probably need to just resize my window as well, don't I? Okay, so that's all done. Can put it back down flat. So we're going to turn on our radio next.
Welcome to OpenTX.
So the radio's on. We're going to go detect receiver. It says turn on your radio. I've turned on the radio. Make sure your radio is bound to the receiver and transmitting. Yep. And is at least 10 feet away. Now when the first Revolt I set up, I had this strange problem where I set everything up, everything seemed fine, and it just did not seem to work. And I went onto the Race Flight Slack channel and said, look guys, I don't know, I can spin the motors up, the motors work fine, but I just got this random problem. And they said, well, did you make sure the radio was 10 feet away? I said, well, yeah-ish. They said, no, do that. So I did that, and for some reason, don't ask me why, fixed my problem. I don't know if it was coincidence or what, but anyway. So I am now going to move the radio 10 feet away, and I'm going to click, well, I'm going to walk over. Let me put that down, and I'm going to click next. So it goes scanning, and if you are successful, it should pick up the radio. If you are successful. There we go, right. So it says, yeah, it's all found it and everything. Click done. Okay, next thing, set up your radio. So it will ask you to, as soon as you press next, you're going to move your sticks in circles and then place the idle, throttle in idle, and keep everything else centered. So I'm rolling the sticks around, you can't see it, this bit, and I'm leaving my throttle all the way down low and everything else where it should be in the center, and clicking OK. Now it says set throttle to top. So I've moved my throttle to top. It says push your stick to the right. So I'm pushing your stick to the right. Push pitch stick to top. Yep, and then push roll stick to right. There we go. Now please set your arming switch to the disarm position. Right, it's in the disarm position. Next, okay, now switch it to the arm position. Switched. Next. Okay, it's all done. So now we can see if I move my arm switch, it works perfectly. And if you scroll all the way down, you can actually click radio data and test the controls. So max throttle, min throttle, your left, your right, roll right, oh, nearly there, roll left, yeah, pitch back and pitch up there. This goes to 99.9. That's pretty much good enough for me. And then auxiliary 1 and auxiliary 2. Okay, so that's all that done. Next up, we're going to update the ESCs. Now, I do have a confession to make. I have actually already done this, so it most likely, unless we had some firmware which I don't know about that came out today, yeah, it probably won't update. So, but I'll show you anyway. We'll go to update ESCs. Yes, we can confirm I don't have any props on, and I am about to connect the battery. So you'll hear it connect. So I've removed the props and connected the battery. Tick. Click next. So then we just give it some time to do its thing. So you can see it read all the motors, it read that I was up to date, it read all the settings that it should be on, and it was quite happy and all done. So that's that. Next we need to calibrate the motors. So click calibrate motors. So for this it says remove your props and have the battery disconnected. Okay, for this, at this stage it will ask you to plug it in, but at this stage you want it disconnected. So it is, I have disconnected the battery. Remove the props, click next. Okay, plug in the battery and wait until the ESCs are finished with the first calibration tones, then press OK. Alright, so let's listen out for the tones. Plug in. Okay, so we've heard that it's set the max throttle. Press OK. Okay, so it's set min throttle and all done. So now we can make sure, well, we're going to have to change the direction more than likely on two motors, so, and set our idle speed. So first of all, I have removed the props and connected the battery. Well, the battery's still connected. So next, so it's set the idle to 5% and they are spinning. So yes, they are spinning. Okay, so what I should have done at that step was to see which motors are spinning in the wrong direction, but from memory I believe that 1 and 3 are typically the ones that need reversing when soldered up the way I've done it. So let's just confirm that. So it will arm the speed controllers again and make them idle. So now I can show you if I bring that to the top, you can see all the motors are spinning in the appropriate directions. Yeah, lovely. So we can go back to that. Are the motors spinning in the right direction? Yes. Okay, and it's all done. So then we just click save. That's all that done. Now we will have a quick look at telemetry configuration. Sorry. So the S-Bus TX pin, that's to do with the receiver. Well, that's auto detected, so that's okay. And we're using the Taranis telemetry. We're using that for the smart audio, so you need to enable that. I like to have it on single arm. I think we'll want it on single arm as well. And smart audio, we've got that on TX3. Okay, so we're on multi-shot. That's everything we need. And save. Perfect. So we'll just have a quick look at the PID tuning screen. So this is where you have everything that you need to control your proportional, integral and derivative on your 3-axis, and you can set your rates and so on and so forth. I've found this stock setup to be absolutely perfect, especially for Will. It's probably his first really serious quad, and yeah, that's all he needs. We have a quick look at the ESC screen. You can change the startup power, beat strength and timing, and then obviously you've got your console, so on and so forth. And actually the Revolt does have 16 meg flight log as well, if you want to diagnose any issues. So we shall save that, I think. Yeah, save, and we shall go back to our camera, so we can unplug this and we can unplug this.
Telemetry lost.
And now what we will do is, very briefly, if I can, is we will just load the Raceflight LUA script onto the Tyrannus, so that we can just have a look at how you can control the VTX and the flight controller using the Tyrannus itself. So I'm going to plug in my SD card. I'm going to locate the script. Arguably I should have it on my desktop ready and waiting, but another preparation issue. I'm just actually going to go to the Raceflight 1 channel and get it directly through one of their links. You can actually get it, the link is raceflight.net /Tyrannus. And we're going to save link as. Save it straight onto the memory card. Okay. Double check that the script, the LUA script, goes into inside the SD card. There's a scripts folder, then there's a telemetry folder, and you just paste the rf.lua script in there. So we'll eject this memory card. And we shall plug it back into the Tyrannus. I don't know why they use the small. I guess it's a space-saving thing, but when you've got big chubby fingers like me, it ain't easy.
Welcome to OpenTX.
As my friend would say. Okay, so we go to we go to, I believe, the model page, and we go through to the display screen. Let me get this on screen, sorry. So we're going to say screen 1. I'm going to change that with the scroll wheel to script, and then we're going to select the RF script, and then to access the actual script itself, you just press and hold page and it will bring it up. At the moment it's saying no RX detected. So I have known this script to be a bit clunky, so if it doesn't work immediately, we'll know why. So plug that in, press and hold page, and yeah, this is what I mean about it being clunky. For me, I don't know why, I always seem to get the no RX detected flashing even though the script seems to work. So it says place both sticks in the bottom center to enable program mode. Okay, we do that and you can see the menu comes up and you can actually use the pitch and roll stick to change your items. So here we've selected the band and I'm actually going to put Will onto oh, there we go, my daily reward is ready. Come and collect it. Must be 9 minutes past 10. Happens on the day, on the time, every time. So we've set it to race band. We'll set it to race 1. Ian typically flies race 2. I fly race 3. So, and then we can set the power. If you want, you can set the power to 200 milliwatts or 25 milliwatts, and in this case we've set it to 200 milliwatts. And then scroll down and go to set, and that will in fact have set the VTX to 200 milliwatt and be on race band 3. Now, how can I prove that? I can prove that by going into my goggles. Now, we all saw watch out, it's a standard unifier, so they typically start on band A, channel 1. So we will know that that LUA script has worked by plugging in goggles. I'm plugging in my goggles now and plugging the battery in, and on our band scanner we can see that that's very interesting, because I actually, typical for it to fail live. Let's go into auto search. Okay. I need to look into that. I don't know why precisely, but we've got we've got a picture on another channel, so that didn't work exactly right. Let me just try looking again. Oh, that's because I was looking on race band 3. That's why. So if we go back to race band 1, hooray! We have a picture. Hopefully, you may be able to see it. My filthy glasses. Well, you can see it's not static, but you can't see much else. I think that's the best I can. Oh, no, there we go. You can see it's working just fine. Okay, I'm almost tempted to have a little fly around my house. No, I won't do that. Okay, so we won't leave that plugged in on the deck for too long. Don't want it to overheat.
Telemetry lost.
Telemetry lost. Okay. Well, that's it really. Other than sorting out the antennas, we've fully built up the DQuad Obsession. We've got to put the GoPro mount on it, and we've got to put the lights on it. We shall no doubt have some fun on Friday night. whilst I boggle my mind trying to get lights fitted. But yeah, that is everything. That is the DQuad Obsession Emax build. I appreciate you all tuning in. We will be sticking some stickers on. We've got some lovely Emax stickers, and it will be like twins, the two twins. Yeah, lovely quads. Can't wait for Will to get a chance to fly it. So yeah, that's everything, guys. If you've got any questions, anything like that, big shout out to Neil. I don't know if he's still with us, but I really appreciate you tuning in. And big shout out Team Redfin. Thanks, boys. Thanks for supporting me. Much appreciated. Keeping me going. And yeah, couldn't be happier. Let's if anyone's got any requests for anything else live, anything like that, anything you want me to do related to quads live, yeah, I'm happy. We'll always give it a go. I've actually got, funny enough, I have got something to show you, which will be potentially the next live thing. This is actually quite interesting now. A sneak peek. This is my first look. I have not seen this yet. So we'll get a clue. First of all, clue number one. I want to see if anyone can guess. So clue number one is, I know it's upside down, but you can see the t-shirt that I'm wearing. Okay, that's clue number one. So clue number two is a little sticker. Okay, and if you haven't guessed by now, it's too late, because you're about to see, and that is, oh, it even comes with some soft mounts. Okay, that's pretty cool. We have, any guesses yet? Still any guesses? I mean, this gives it away. I mean, the name couldn't have been more appropriate if it tried. This says Thug Frames. Thug Frames. Could it be none other than, I have my hands on the Thug Frames Silverback in black. This is going to be for, this will probably be the next build that I do. Having not done it before and having no destructions whatsoever, it could be interesting for me to do live. I might make a complete tit of myself. But I think we should give it a go. Anyway, yeah, Trigger, you win. You win. Yeah. I want to see. I just want to sneak one of these out. Dale will never know. But yeah, it's actually quite thin. It's actually quite thin. But I do love the shape. I do love the shape. Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. It does actually look like a gorilla, doesn't it? I think he did design it that way, but it does sort of look like a silverback. But that is going to be nice. What are we sticking on it? Dale's gone for a Revolt. Good man. Good man. Man with a plan. Looks like I need to get a 5-volt regulator. In fact, I might even persuade him to go with one of the PDBs that I have, because they're very, very good. He's going to be running these. The Yes, it is Dale's, Tim. He's going to be running those. He's going to be running one of these. He's going to be running one of these, but I think we'll go to the time and effort of deepinning that. We'll deepin that live, I think. And he's got one of those. Although, I mean, that's a hunk of chunk. That is, yeah, no. I think we might persuade Dale to stick that on his goggles, and perhaps he'll want to run a low profile stubby. We'll see what he says. And then we've got lots of cables that I don't think we need. So, oh, and a buzzer. Oh, that's one thing I have to do, is fit a buzzer on Will's quad, but I'm not going to do that now because it's late. Okay, well, this will be the Silverback project. Don't know when we're going to squeeze that in, but it will be soon. Oh, it will be soon. And yeah, good night, much love, and I'll see you soon.